Hello and welcome to Chat the Chief. As always, I'm joined by Bert Bean, Steve Wasik, and I am Katie Hillary. For the first time ever, we have our guest on Chat the Chief. I think his IQ is greater than our cumulative IQ. We've got Santosh Kandle. And Santosh, if you can tell us a little bit about yourself. You're joining us here today to talk about the topic of AI. So excited to have you. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, thank you, Katie. I'm Santosh. I joined Inside Global about 9 months ago to lead data, AI, clouds, and applications practice. I've been in the industry for about 22 years, worked across 4 continents, predominantly in technology space. Over a period of time, I did technology, a little bit of operations, I did sales, so I have this subtle combination of technology and commercials.
Katie, how many continents have you worked across?
Oh, I mean, can I answer like how many I've been to, traveled to? That feels a little bit better.
4 continents worked across? Well, don't have that one.
It's incredible.
Yeah, and I'm very excited to be here at the podcast, but I'm also very excited with the outlook of what AI is gonna bring to both us internally, but also for our customers. So it's an exciting space to be in.
Yes, we're so happy to have you join the conversation. And before we really get into the deep stuff where you can add a ton of your insights, I also want to just open it up a little bit light. Guys, how are you all using it? What's your take on it? Have you embraced it personally? What's the vibe out there?
Super cool. Yeah, I mean, you know, I do use Copilot, ChatGPT for, it's like replaced Google searching for me,
Same.
I think.
Yeah.
Although there are some hallucinations on stuff. I caught one actually. I was looking for a quote from a book that I was reading. I forgot what chapter it was in. So I was like, oh, I'll just ask it. And it totally missed it. And I knew it was wrong. And I was like, oh, wow.
But it's good that you knew it was wrong. That's kind of scary. If you...
I know, because it wasn't like, hey, I could be wrong, but this is it acted as if it was exactly right.
Yeah.
So, but no, I love it. I think it's great. I think it's only gonna just be more a bigger and bigger productivity lift to all people, I think.
But primarily just for a Google search replacement, or are you using it for any other?
You know, day to day, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Steve?
I'm about the same. I'm on my health journey. I'm always really curious about the world. Yeah, instead of Google, like I use it to figure out whatever I want to do health-wise, and I'm going deep. And then I also got off all socials, like no socials. And I've found that like when you are off of all those things, you do fill up your time on your phone with something else.
Yeah.
Like it's not like I'm just like not on my phone anymore. And I have found I'm using ChatGPT a little bit to just, I don't know, like engage with. Like, hey, what? Like I'll be driving and I'm like, what about this?
Yeah.
And then, okay, so if that happened, then what could, and like I'll just spend 30 minutes on talking to ChatGPT. And my wife has noticed and she's not super thrilled about it. So.
Fill in the void.
Yeah, exactly.
John, actually, my husband has been pulling me into it. We've used it, we're remodeling our kitchen, and we've used it to take like our inspiration pictures and layer it on top of our actual pictures of the kitchen to look at what it actually would look like. So that's been very cool. I also have been using it for cooking. My refrigerator, unfortunately, looks more like a bachelor's fridge than a mother of 3s more often than not. So I'll just pop in what ingredients I have and say, what dinner could I make with these limited items? And it
is your house
works.
when your kids, is it gonna be the fun house? Like, did you guys have a friend's house where you walked in, their pantry
100%.
had everything? It was like
Yes.
the fruit gushers and the little Debbie cakes and just had everything.
Okay, I will do the healthy branded version of those. So in my mind, I feel better about it. It's like the organic Whole Foods
So you're
equivalent.
like down with Red Dye 40. You're not down.
Red Dye 40s, no way.
Yeah.
Out of there.
Lots of Olipop.
So much Olipop.
There you
I
go.
love Olipop.
Olipop is not good either, though. That's come out. Yeah, Olipop
Don't
is
crush me.
Olipop is fake news. It is not healthy soda.
Don't crush me on that.
and I love how we're all just turning on Red Dye 40 all of a sudden. Like, why?
It's like a bad word.
Yeah.
For sure. Like call Child Protective Services.
No, if my
Like-
wife sees my kid with that, she will throw it across the room in front of them. Yeah.
What about you, Santosh? What do you use it for personally?
Yeah, I mean, I use a lot of perplexity.ai for writing emails and doing some research here and there. But I think what's more fun for me is working with my team on looking at some top of the hill problems just to see what's the art of the possible that's out there and keep innovating on it.
Like, give an example of that.
So there's a customer meeting that we were preparing a couple of weeks ago. It's an agri-science customer of ours, and they gave us some top of the hill problem to solve, and we kind of researched a lot what could we take to them. And the fun part of it is when we are doing a lot of those top-of-the-hill problems, we are identifying areas where the industry has not solved the problem, and then we find an idea how to innovate, and then we quickly go and file a patent for it. So that has been a fascinating journey for me. While I'm using it for
kickstart that.
Yeah, I mean, doing stuff on the personal side, I do use it, but I think I'm having a lot more fun with the technology, building it, playing with it, and solving some of the problems that industry has not seen or hasn't solved.
I mean, you're definitely on the next level of us. I'm like, well, I use it to cook.
Santosh is going into the deep end of it. You know what I've actually struggled with is using it for an email. Like I'm not there yet. Like I feel like my words are mine, and like that's where I'm like maybe I feel like my grandfather did as it relates to some technologies, where I'm like, no, that's my, like I'm not writing an email.
No.
Yeah, that's
with
my brand.
Chat GPT. That's me. Like like I haven't been able to do it. I tried it one time and I had a visceral reaction to it. Bert, did you feel the same way?
No, I've never even, I've like sort of tried it. Like write me a starter for this type of an email. I was like, nope, because it's just not me, and it feels too inauthentic.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that it is a big it's a big time saver on things like that, or even if you need to summarize an email. But I still like reading the long emails. I still like writing the email. I don't know. It's like a very human part of me that I don't want to just give to the computer yet.
100%.
Because then
I'm scared to lose that.
Yeah.
Last week I was on a call with a vendor, and one of the elements of the technology that they were pitching to me that they were most excited about that was going to lift the productivity of our salespeople was that it will automatically send the client's email from your account manager's desk, and it'll look like it comes straight from them. That's the perception of the client. I said, please never talk to me about that again. And I never say never, and I'm sure that there's a way in which we could incorporate our own voices, and then I'm sure you could train it to understand the language of the person and the tone of the person. So never say never, but I did say never in that moment. I was like, I am just not ready to
over
take
my
that
dead
leap.
body.
Please, it's just who you are. It's a part of your brand. So I'm sure that I will have to evolve to use your words. I don't want to be the grandmother in the room. It's like, nope, we're always going to type with a typewriter. But it's a struggle for me to get over that.
I mean, if I could ask Santosh, that's a good point, Katie, because if we keep taking ourselves off the field as humans, then you're sort of giving AI the opportunity to just be like, well, I guess we don't need you anymore then, Katie, if it can write the email, send the email, all those things. So, in this new world, how do you think we'll have to think about that? I mean, obviously we're going to have humans are still going to work, all that sort of thing. You're still going to have cognitive workers out there, but how will we know to not go too far, or are we finding that balance now, do you think?
I think it's very dependent on what we're trying to solve from a use case perspective. I think I'm going to give more a customer part of it. So there are customers who want to solve different types of use cases, and we're seeing what the art of the possible is with the systems. They're not matured in some spaces. In some spaces, they're very matured. And the more context you give it, the more training you're giving to this whole technology, it kind of responds to you well. That's probably what my take is on it.
Yeah, so meaning like train it on the way in which I write and the way in which I correspond, so it does match my tone. Yeah, all right, maybe I'll get there. Okay, so Santosh, let's talk to you, and really if you can help us kind of set the table. When I think about AI, it's a little bit intimidating to me because I hear, AGI and agentic AI, there are all these terms that are thrown at me. I feel like I hear a different one each day. What are the terms that matter most, and what do they mean?
Yeah, I think that there's so many words that everybody uses, right? AI, then machine learning, there is deep learning, there is large language models, there's foundational models. It's all over the place. I think we should just focus on what really matters to us today and for our customers and what we want to do internally. I think that probably 2 or 3 concepts that I keep telling my team, and I keep myself updated on those stuff, right? So let's start a little bit on generative AI. That's the most recent one. There is a lot of hype about it. So generative AI is actually using a foundational model. That's kind of very important aspect and terminology that we should get. So foundational models there are a number of foundational models that are out there. They're also called large language models.
Yep.
So think about GPT is a large language model which is done by OpenAI. And there is Llama, which is another foundational large language model done by Meta. There is Grok that Elon Musk is driving it. So there's a number of foundational models, which are large language models. And then generative AI is using those large language models. So the way I describe generative AI in a simplistic way is like autocomplete, just at the next level. So you kind of type a sentence, then there is a recommendation on what the next 2 words should be. That's how it used to be. Generative AI gives you not only the next few words, it can give you the next sentence, it actually can give you the next paragraph, or it can just write the whole document for you, right? So that's kind of generative AI. But there's also, when you're really solving some deep problems that you need to solve for the customers, the language itself doesn't solve the problem, because language models can just go very broad, but they don't go deep. And when you're really solving big customer problems in the tech space, you got to start thinking about models that can go deep, and those are machine learning models. And machine learning models are also when you have to solve something with very high precision and accuracy. So I call them like deterministic models. So generative AI is more probabilistic models, where you have a high probability of being right, but they are never accurate. They're never going to be 100%. And
they're going to hallucinate.
Yeah,
right?
that would be more.
Or they're just going to give broad answers, broad with not a lot of this could be right, it could be wrong. It's not as specific as the deterministic model.
Correct. So deterministic problems are more like when you have deep technology problems that you're solving, where having something a high probability is not going to be appropriate, right? If I'm taking a very critical decision of restarting a network, I don't want to leave that to a 80% probable model, right? So those are kind of machine learning models. Now, there is also this whole concept of agentic AI that is coming out. That's kind of what everybody is working on. There's a big adoption of that we are doing internally as well to solve some of our problems for productivity. But we're also, a lot of our customers are actually asking us, how are we approaching the agentic AI? So once you start thinking about agentic AI, is that how do you bring a probabilistic model and a deterministic model, which could be Gen AI combined with machine learning models? How do you just put them together? That's kind of the agentic AI stuff that is happening.
That's so interesting.
Can you give some examples of that, the agentic space?
So in the agentic space, let's say that there's an internal use case that we were working on. The first use case that we are solving is we have thousands of SMS contracts across hundreds of customers. When we wanted to process some of this contracts, we're trying to see some very critical information that we were interested in, but it is humanly not possible to read thousands of contracts which are in the form of PDFs, Excels, and Word documents. So what we did is we built a few agents which are now trained very well on our contracts. Like if something took about 6 months with 10 people for us to read those contracts, now we are able to process over thousands of contracts in 2 hours.
That's incredible.
So what we are doing is that we have trained the agents. We just keep the agents working on those contracts. Those agents are able to read very complex data in various different formats, and they organize all this information exactly how I want them to be organized, so that I can quickly read and make sense out of it.
That's a fascinating use case, by the way, back to Bert's previous question, because we actually never would have spent the people resource hours on that activity. We never would have done that.
Kind of new
we
work.
never would have been like, yeah, we're going to spend 1,000 hours and hire 4 people to read these contracts. It was just new. It was something new that we were enabled by, right?
True. And I think that there's another example that we are doing also is that as we are doing more outcome-based contracts, we also want to kind of make sure that we are writing the contracts with no ambiguity into it, both which is also right for our customers and for us to protect our business. So we've built this statement of work generator, which we don't want humans to make mistake. So all our solution architects are using the SOW generator. Basically, it's a combination of machine learning model and a generative AI part of it. The machine learning part of it is that I don't want hallucinations for terms and conditions. So we have kind of really trained it using machine learning part of it. But we also want to give some liberty for the model to kind of generate the text that we want to write in the document itself, right? So that's another example of how we are doing it. That's not only helping us for productivity, but we are also preventing risks and
Right.
making mistakes.
So are the AI agents, should I think about that as they are sitting on top of those models, the large language models, whether it's the definitive or the probabilistic? Did I use those words correctly?
Deterministic and probabilistic.
So
yeah.
they're sitting on top of that to actually execute the task. They're trained on it in order to come through and do what we're hoping to be accomplished.
Correct. So the way this whole system kind of works is that when you have a lot of agents, you don't want these agents to do whatever they want.
Right.
So you got to make them work in tandem, just like how humans work.
Right.
So you now have to think about how to put an orchestration platform, which kind of orchestrates all these agents on an objective that you give to them. So that's called the agentic orchestration platform. So what we are doing is that we are designing our own agentic orchestration platform to who we give the objective, and this orchestration platform kind of uses the available agents to get the objective done.
Interesting. And when we think about training the AI agents, is that the secret sauce? Is that really where the magic happens? Because it's the execution of the culmination of all of the work being done underneath it?
Yeah, so that's kind of the hardest part of how you keep training and make those agents better and better over a period of time. So that happens not only, you kind of train the agents by giving a lot of context to it, but you also keep kind of doing reinforcement learning. Like every time the agent doesn't do a good job, you actually feed it that was bad. And the more you tell that it was bad and what was right, it trains itself and starts getting better.
Wow, that is fascinating. So you've been at Insight Global for 9 months. And I mean, granted, AI has taken off in such a meaningful way in the last year, but how have you seen us coming from the outside, from the moment that you stepped foot and scanned the scene at Insight Global and took inventory of how we had taken to AI versus now? How have we adopted to it both internally and I guess first internally, but then next I'd like to learn a little bit more about how you're thinking about how we're bringing it to our customers.
So I think it's very interesting that I was reflecting with some of the team members just yesterday that this whole agentic AI and generative AI has been like very popular in last year. And if I reflect back last 3-4 months, the amount of journey that we have made at Evergreen in adopting, learning how to leverage these technologies to solve both our internal problems for productivity, but also for our customers is fascinating. I mean, it's not only that we learned it, we've built it, we are playing with it, and we're actually now very much ready to go engage with the customers and look at their complex problems and solving it, right? So I would say that we have not only learned it and we are adopting it, but we've been very intentional that we want to do it. It's not that we are just stumbling on things. We've been very clear. We are investing on it, and I think we are very focused on what we want to solve, and we keep going at it and persistence, and we are seeing that we will get success, and we are getting success.
Well, Bert,
it's very real. Like just being on Santosh's team, they'll like 1 week say, yeah, our customer has this problem. We're thinking about trying to build this thing, and then like the next week, they'll come back and be like, yeah, we actually built it and it's working. And I'm like, in a week? What do you mean?
Right,
I don't even get it. Don't you have to like build the application and then people have to code it and then people have to test it and like they're like, yeah, in a week, it's working pretty well. We're pretty happy with it. I'm like, okay. I have so much to learn about what you guys are doing.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Bert, how did you make the decision that now is the time, or I guess it was a year ago, but this is the time, we're ready to leap, we want to go full force into this AI?
So, I mean, if we want to compete in a professional services space, which we do, this is what we have to go all in. If I'm gonna make an investment in something, I don't like sort of going sort of half-hearted into that. I'd rather go all the way into it once we believe that, once we've done the work to be informed that we need to do it. That's it. And so, here we are. A year ago, a $4 billion predominantly staffing. We're doing more professional services, but we see, okay, what our customers are wanting from us is to scale more, to help them more, to become more of a full-fledged professional services company, working on more outcome-based deliverables, helping them solve some of these big problems. The most fascinating thing about the AI journey is nobody has it figured out yet, really. I mean, right. Everybody is, I want to do it, but my data's a mess, or I want to do it, but it's expensive. I don't know what problem to solve, and so I love that. I love the chaos of that because it allows us.
Chaos. You love it.
It allows us to. Well, hey, it allows us to come in with our own plan too. We don't have to follow any other well-worn paths. And so our salespeople and our recruiters are so talented. They are able to learn if you train them. So as we are now really retraining the entire sales force, 1,600 salespeople, into how to look, find, identify, sell, help customers with true professional services engagements now. We need people like Santosh and his army of folks, incredibly smart folks that he's bringing over from all sorts of industries to help us build the solutions that can help our customers. And yeah, I mean, it was an easy decision, Katie. I mean, you spend, I mean, I know you spend a ton of time with our people. You talk to our people and find out what they're running into, and it is, they're at the edge of their understanding in some of these meetings of how to solve these customer problems. Okay, we need to wrap some really smart solutions folks around them so we can make the offering more robust. And so it's been great. So now it's how quickly can we scale?
Yeah, I think you can agree with me on this, but there's such a product market fit. People are wanting guidance on this. It's an intimidating, overwhelming concept, but people know that there's a fit. It's not specific to any industry. It's not specific to any line of business or business unit within a company. Everybody knows that they can benefit from it, but I think they struggle with what's the entry point, and they're wanting help in order to unlock its potential within their own organization or their personal lives. But Steve, being the culture guy, our resident culture expert,
Sure.
When you think about AI and whether its impact on culture or how culture can either accept or reject AI, how do you kind of wrap your head around that?
Yeah, I actually can't take credit for this answer because some very smart fellow that works for Santosh fed me this and pointed this out to me.
Is that the person that we don't speak of?
That's the person that will remain nameless.
And we don't put his name on any of our own content. We don't want our own people calling him. He's very important. He needs to be left alone.
That's
to work.
But in recognition for him, we should talk about him. So he's Shushan that has joined.
Oh, wow.
Santosh,
don't say that.
It's the only time we'll say it.
This would be
He's amazing.
We beep out his name as if it's a curse word.
Yes, we were going to bleep that out. No, so there's a guy on Santosh's team, and we were at a happy hour on our top floor of our building, and he did this wild thing. He came up to me, and he's like, "I need to talk to you. I'm spiritually connected to Compass," and then he kind of walked away. I was like, "Who is that guy?" So I, of course, found him later. I was like, "Can you tell me more about that wild comment you just made?" Compass being our culture and leadership practice. He said, "Steve, what is culture?" He said, "It is shared learning that's been built up over time that really informs how we think and how we behave in a situation." And he's like, culture ultimately is going to show itself the most when we have to make a decision. It's really where culture is going to shine through. He says, what is AI? AI is intentionally created shared learning that's going to influence how we think and interact with others, and it's going to show itself most pronounced when we use it to make decisions. So I was like,
good hire.
Anyway, so let's think about that. You're kind of already seeing this in the news right now with Grok and Grok 3 and Grok 4 and what's happening. There's going to be kind of a collision here of what we teach these things, and then what we teach these language models and what we teach them, it's going to have culture in it, right? So there's probably a pretty bright version of this that's super exciting and optimistic, and then there's probably a maybe scarier version. But I am, being an optimist, want to live a little bit more in the bright version, where we, as far as I'm concerned, get to control this stuff, right? Get to have a say, I hope. I think that we can we can interact with these technologies in a way that can marry up with the best of us. And we can teach these things to care about our shared values and to hold them high and to hold them in regard. And we can, so there's that piece of this that I think is going to be really an opportunity, right? And ultimately, this is going to be wild because you can go back to certain situations. I don't know, Kmart, Walmart, right? Kmart or Walmart at some point were in about the same. They were in the same stage as a business, and they had some choices to make. Kmart made some choices, didn't work out super well. Walmart made some other choices, and here we are. Well, they made those choices based on what? Their culture, right? The culture of Kmart said do this, the culture of Walmart said do that. And so I think there's just another interesting future where we're all going to have a little bit more access to maybe what is the right answer. So all things we're gonna have to grapple with, but it's a fascinating world we're about to go into.
Yeah, the juxtaposition of AI versus culture and calling them the same thing is kind of mind-blowing. Bert, I know you listened to The Journal. Did you listen to the episode last month, the podcast where they talked about the Pope's involvement in AI?
No, I saw that heading, and it's still like shortlisted. Tell me what it is. What did it say?
Okay, so Pope Louis.
Yeah. The White Sox fan.
Chicago.
Yes, Chicago guy, which is so wild that he's just over
Still
there in the
cool.
Vatican.
Pretty cool.
Like, you sure? But apparently, great guy. So his number one thing, or one of his top things, is wanting to be involved in AI and wanting to be an influence in the ethics and providing guidelines on AI. So he has met with presidents at Microsoft, at OpenAI, just across the board. They actually hosted at the Vatican an AI summit. So imagine that, like, it's just a 2,000-year-old institution with like the most cutting edge technology, and they're sitting down talking about something and having a mutual concern. I think that, you talked about, okay, there's a really bright future, but there's also a scary future. I think that everybody wants to come together and say, okay, how do we make sure that we progress and do this for the greater good? But it was a very, very interesting episode. They also drew some parallels that I think are obvious to a lot of folks, but between, and actually this is the reason why he chose his name. So the Pope, it is Pope Louis,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So he's Pope Louis the 14th, and Pope Louis the 13th was Pope during the Second Industrial Revolution. And so he,
No
our Red
way.
Sox guy, chose Louis because he envisioned himself having to have the same influence and have to have the same involvement in the workforce and in this economic change that AI is going to have during his tenure as Pope, that Pope Louis XIII had during the Second Industrial Revolution, going from hands-on work to all of a sudden machines coming and replacing a lot of that work that was being done. So I thought
That's amazing.
That was
That's really cool.
Santosh, I'd love to get your take. Like Satya Nadella says that he thinks that AI should be able to lower the floor and raise the ceiling. And if it really takes off and if we really are able to use it, and if it's successful, we should see things like 10% GDP growth by country. What are your thoughts on that?
I think the way AI is generally being adopted is for productivity gains, optimizing costs, but there's also a big opportunity to sell more, bring new offerings to the market, bring new products to the market much faster, right? So I think that's going to unlock as well. Just looking at AI just for cutting costs is not the only way that's going to be leveraged. And we're seeing that from our customers. As the productivity of ours go up as well, we can do so many other things that we were not.
You can only
doing
cut
before.
so much cost, right?
Right.
Yeah, there's only so much
there's
cutting cost
to
that you can
cost.
do.
Yeah,
And it's also a race to bottom, right? Cutting cost only, right? So there's also new opportunities for increasing revenue, bringing new products. I think there will be
speaks to this industrial revolution that Pope Louis is planning for. Yeah, that's the part that I get excited about. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I'm just convinced that if it's a productivity enhancer ultimately, if it's a tool, a really great tool ultimately, then we should be able to go so much farther and so much faster, and it should grow everybody. And yeah, there's going to be some disruption along the way, perhaps, but net, I think it's going to be a huge positive.
It will be.
I think the narrative that's selling in the media right now is the scary one, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's going to take one day it's taking all of our white collar jobs, the next day it's taking all entry level jobs. I think there's kind of a correlation, Bert, between like how people are thinking about AI right now and how people think about layoffs. There's like companies out there that they love themselves a good layoff because it's going to cut that bottom line.
Yeah.
I think you're still a bad company in a lot of ways. Like,
well, it's so hard to trust anybody. Not to sound like my dad maybe, but every CEO that runs out there and says, I'm telling my people they can't hire anybody unless they find out a way for AI to do that work. Well, what he's really saying to Wall Street is, we're trying to keep our costs low.
Right.
We're going to keep our costs low, and so that means we'll have better earnings. So you should like our stock more for that. So that's really all he's saying. He's not even saying, giving guidance around we're going to lower hiring by this or that. They're just sort of leaning into that, which is a way to whisper to the street, hey, we're going to keep OpEx low. And then everybody is so invested in all of these technologies, NVIDIA and everything else, and so people are going to use so much language in favor of that because everybody is trying to, take part in all the earnings out there. But I think that's a mistake. I think it's really the real productivity gains are on the new things we're going to be able to do this. Just the example that you said earlier, you're right. We would have never hired a team of 10 people to read through thousands of contracts. We just kind of wouldn't have had that information, and we would have been less good as a company.
Correct.
Well, now I can use this net positive AI tool to read all these contracts to make us that much better. Imagine all trillions of decisions like that being made by companies adds to productivity.
Yeah, one of the things I've loved about watching Santosh and his team work is the whole world's talking about the bottom line focus to AI. We're going to cut these jobs, whatever. That's not what Santosh's team is focused on. They're like, not unlike what Compass would do. What's the purpose of your organization? What are the results you need to achieve? What's the AI that would lift those results? It's oftentimes more of a top line thing, more of a growth thing, more of a getting you more, or creating a future that wouldn't have been possible for you by lifting productivity and or efficiency in an area that really matters to your business. Well, and who knows what happens when that propels and that propels and that propels. We might hire more people.
Well, this is
because we can.
This is the thing called Jevons paradox. Have you heard of this?
No.
So Jevons paradox is this thing where, like for instance, let's say there's a really bad bottleneck traffic area and it's a 2-lane road. Well, if you spend the money to make it a 4-lane road to make that traffic better, what happens? Well, more people drive on it now.
Exactly.
And so now traffic gets even worse.
Yeah.
If you make gas prices a lot lower to save people money, they're just going to wind up driving even more. Right, and so the more successful something becomes, the more affordable it becomes. It doesn't just like, oh well, now I can spend the same amount of money, and now I can save money. No, I'm going to even spend even more. I'm going to use this resource even more, and that's where I think you'll start to see the real explosion of how people use AI and the explosion of growth once people really understand how to use it beyond displacing a Google search.
Yes.
Yeah, I think one of the examples of this contracts that we are analyzing. The way we are really using that is not only because we wanted less people to do it, that was one objective, but truly what we are trying to achieve is that we are able to now communicate to those contracts where we are asking the contracts, when was this contract last negotiated? Do we have an opportunity to go renegotiate prices with our customers? That's increasing top line. That's increasing absolute contribution to our bottom line, right?
Right.
So we are also looking at what contracts are actually very risky because the terms and conditions is creating a lot more exposure to us. Then we are quickly able to identify, hey, these are the contracts we should go back and renegotiate some of those contracts because they're neither right for us and not right for the customers as well because they were old. So so much new things that we are able to do it. It's less about cutting cost. All those things that we are doing is actually to drive our top line.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I just don't. I'm not just being in staffing. Like there's people have said forever, well, isn't AI going to displace the need for recruiters? You just use like these AI matching tools and stuff. But there are so many, what I would say more sort of general staffing, industrial staffing, blue collar staffing firms out there that they're not able to just get away completely from recruiters. Like if it doesn't work in those workforces, which you would assume are a bit more commoditized, it's not going to work in replacing the need for recruiting on white collar jobs. In addition, there's all these other roles that why in the world do realtors still exist? Why do realtors exist?
I mean, I found my last 3 houses.
I
was like, I would like to buy this house.
I'm on Zillow every night. Yeah. I'm not even moving. Right? I can tell you any house for sale in my neighborhood.
My wife, same.
I can go to YouTube and I can learn how to negotiate a house. I can probably download whatever contract that is.
Yep.
But yet we still want to interact with a human being before making a big purchase to buy a house, which is the realtor, right? So I do think there's something it's innately human about us that is going to keep us from just shredding every job out there.
Yeah, this is just phase 1, and it's what other people are talking about, and so it's the language that people cling to on those earnings calls, and I think that you're right, it will evolve. So speaking of things that we're doing for our clients, things that we're doing internally, what are you most excited about? What have you worked on that brings you the most joy, that you're thinking, oh my gosh, I can't believe that we are doing this, that I have the opportunity to create this?
I would say that both our us internally and also our customers have adopted AI in a siloed way.
Okay.
They've taken AI, let me try something here, let me try something there. And they've spent money, but it's not truly transforming because you're just trying stuff here and there. What I'm really excited about with this agentic AI coming, you can actually take the entire process and actually transform the process. So think about an example where you are doing account payables, account receivables, general ledger, billing, invoicing. Most of the AI that was adopted by our customers were like, what can I do it in account payable space? Then they did something in the general ledger space. Now what we are truly engaging with our customers is that how do you take that entire process that is just done by physical workforce, and how can you just take this entire process and transform it with a combination of physical workforce and the agentic AI workforce. So I think that's fascinating of how this is going to solve so many problems for our customers. And I think we are moving really fast and learning that. And I think we are also fortunate that over a period of time we have, what's fascinating for me at Inside Global is the amount of customers that we work with and the relationships that we have with them. And we've built so much of trust. They actually open the doors where we are not only, they don't treat us as suppliers, they treat us as partners, and we are able to partner with them and identify this opportunities of this large transformations, right? So I think that's very exciting for me. There's this customer that we are working closely. I hope we'll get that partnership out soon with them. They are in the agri-science business, and they're producing very specialized seeds that then they give it to the farmers to kind of have maximum yield from that particular piece of land where they're putting those seeds. So they're kind of modifying the DNA of the seeds to get the maximum yield. And that whole process is so fascinating when we work with them and understanding how their scientists are doing it. And they actually want to accelerate because they want to do more of that, but they cannot do more of that because those people who know that subject are so little, and then they're not many available, right? So they want to maximize their availability of those scientists not to do monotonous, repetitive tasks, and they want that agentic AI to take over that so that they can start focusing on doing a lot more new
productivity
stuff.
enhancer.
Productivity enhancer,
Yeah.
right?
That's exciting.
And I'm excited that we heart Santosh.
I'm like, play it cool, yeah.
And I think I also would like to say that we've been very intentional on the customers that we are choosing with, where we can go and partner with them. Because if our customers are, if you have an engagement where we are just a supplier, then we are not truly transforming. I think we are looking for those customers who are evolving from using us as a supplier to more a partner. And I think this partnership is a very important thing that we are doing. So I would say that we have like two categories of customers that we are working with. One category of customers, or the first category of the customers, are the companies which are producing tech. And the second, so that could be hyperscalers or big product companies are the customers that we are working with. There is a second set of customers, and that pool is basically how they are taking tech from these big techs and applying them in their environments. And we are very fortunate to work with both set of customers, and both of these customers actually challenge us, leverage us, and they're also elevating our thinking, and they leverage us in a very different way.
Right.
And we are learning so much from both of these different categories of customers.
Yeah.
That's what I love about our company is that we get exposure to such a wide breadth of industries, companies. I mean, just our clients allow us to learn so much. I like that you picked up on that too. So question for you, when did you mentally turn from a technology leader to think of yourself as an AI leader?
So, well, I think I've been looking at AI for several years. There's so much of evolution that has happened. AI has been there were machine learning models has been there for several years, right? So that's where it started. I've just kept myself, I would never call myself expert because the shelf life of these technologies is so short. There's so much to learn.
Okay, well, I'll do it for you. So you're an expert. Thank you for your humility.
I'm always like, what's the new thing out there, and how do I keep myself updated? And I learn a lot from my team. I learn a lot from my customers. And I'm just keeping myself updated and learning new stuff and practicing it. So I would say generative AI is kind of pushing the boundary on all of us now. So and we are learning it. So there was AI, ML that I've done for many years, and generative AI is something that we are learning now. Agentic AI is something that we are learning now.
Can you talk a little bit about AGI and what's coming next?
I think AGI is a little bit more forward-looking, Steve, and I don't want to confuse the organization and our people. I think the big thing is stay at agentic AI.
Know your audience.
There's so much to do in that space now.
Wonderful. Well, any other questions that you guys have got for him while we've got him here?
That was awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us and teach us a little bit about what's going on in that beautiful brain of yours. We appreciate you so much, Santosh. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I'll just leave our audience with our people with one message. Don't worry about what AI is going to do to you. You know, you should be more prepared of those people who actually know AI are going to do to you. So get ready. You know, it's not that difficult. Just have this habit of learning, and you're going to get there.
Well said.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, now we're at the section Chat the Chief, where real listeners get to write in and ask the Chief himself burning questions that they're dying to know the answer to. I'll go ahead and kick it off.
Great.
We've got a question from McKenna. She wants to know, how do you tend to your mental health and incorporate work-life balance? I feel like I know part of the answer to this, but obviously you got to answer it yourself.
Yeah, I prioritize it. It really is the short answer. I think that is work-life balance is such a personal answer. Everybody has to figure that out for themselves. For me specifically, running is important to me. My faith is important to me. My family is important to me. So I just prioritize those things, and you're able to figure that out. I think the one thing I'll say is that there are it's okay to realize there's different seasons of your life, and there are certain seasons where this may be a season where I'm going to be very locked in at work. I'm going to have very little distractions. I got to be focused at work for whatever reason. Maybe I'm early in my career and I want to get myself set up. Maybe it's midway through my career and I'm trying to go for some promotion. I think that's okay. I think be very careful to not take somebody else's definition of what work-life balance looks for them and apply it to yourself.
That is great advice. Santosh, you can chat the Chief your own question.
Okay, good. So, Bert, how do you see that adoption of AI across our organization is going to give us the competitive edge?
I'm very excited for this. I don't want to share all the little things that we're doing as just because I do know this is a public podcast. And I'm very proud of the things that we're doing and how we're getting a competitive edge on that. But I'm excited because I think that with yourself, with our own IT department, our own technology department, I think we've got some really talented people here building some really amazing products, many that we've already put into the company. And more than anything, the demographics of our workforce, they're hungry for this kind of stuff, and they are not at all resistant to it. And so that's exciting. That means we just got to get them the right tools and the right products, and then it's kind of game over.
All right, Steve.
To round us out, I have an anonymous submission with just a little one here. What is the toughest decision you've ever had to make as CEO?
Okay.
We just have to beep out the whole thing.
Yeah. Just a little one, quick one.
That's a soul searcher. I obviously there are a few that come to mind that I will not share.
That feels right.
Yep,
yeah.
That feels like it's right about where it is.
Organization is not ready for that. But I would say there's hard decisions that I've made. A lot of times are around. Actually, you know what? Here it is. The most recent hard decision I had to make was when my old CFO was retiring. I had to hire a new CFO. So CEO, like one of the more important roles that you're going to hire is your CFO. It's kind of big, kind of a big one. Don't want to get that wrong. And I had never hired a CFO before in my long recruiting career. And so this was going to be my CFO that was going to be my partner after replacing a guy that was amazing, been with the company almost 20 years. and did this long search process. And it came down to two individuals. One individual, super talented, who we liked a lot, and the other individual, her name is Ki Wen, and also very talented. Both had great resumes, and it was really tough. I had the whole team interview. The team was not split 50-50, but they were more leaning toward Ki. I had the board interview. They were actually more leaning toward the other candidate. And I just kind of always liked Ki. I was like, there's something about her. I just connect with her. I'm not a finance person, so I couldn't give her like an accounting test. I wouldn't know how to. I guess I could use ChatGPT to see if she passed it. But it really was. The other candidate was also very strong, and I just, man, it was a real. I really wanted to get it right, and I really wanted to make the right call, and there were some other outside voices sort of suggesting maybe the other candidate. And I was like, nah, it's going to be Ki. It just is. It's going to be her. And I'm so glad I did, because it's one of the best hires I've ever made. She is a fantastic CFO. She's been with the company now about 2 years, and is just totally incredible.
Yeah, she's
totally
transformational.
Incredible.
She is so good.
Amazing person.
She's so good.
Transformational leader, transformational CFO. She is fantastic. And so that was a really hard decision, and it was the right one.
Personally, thank you. I love her. She's fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
She's awesome.
Thank
No
you
problem.
for sharing.
You got it.
It's
Thanks,
wonderful.
guys.
All right, guys. Great work.